anybody wants to get a copy of this presentation, I can email it to you. You can just give me your email and I'll feel free to send it to you. Regarding other resources, yeah, I could send you some of that information. I also have a health bulletin or newsletter that we send out regarding practical health tips, so we can go ahead and send you that. As far as other resources, unfortunately, at least in the English language, there are very few or not enough resources regarding this topic. There's a famous book called The Medicine of the Prophet ﷺ that you've seen in the bookstores from Imam Ibn al-Qayyim, al-Jawziyah. May Allah be pleased with him. And there are a few others. But generally, the majority of them are in Arabic. There's some more in Urdu. I have one particular book. This particular book is in Urdu. It's called Nabatat al-Quran. He has a second book too called Ahadith min Mazkur Nabatat. And what that means is the plants or herbs of the Quran. Let me show it. The plants or herbs of the Quran. This is from a scholar in India. He has a second book that relates to the herbs and plants and foods mentioned in the Quran. Or sorry, a hadith. And so, yeah, there are some sources, but unfortunately in English it's relatively lacking. This one is Ibtidar Faruqi. He's from Lucknow. Yeah. All right.
And the recording will be available to our website.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's good. Brother Owais reminded me. There were a number of people who weren't able to be here tonight, and they asked us to videotape it. So Brother Owais was kind enough to say that he'll try to post it, inshallah, on the website also. Any sisters who perform hijama? Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, so there is a sister who fortunately lives in Epic. She basically is doing hijama for sisters. She took a course, an online course from the UK, where she did her coursework and written material through them. And then for the practical part of it, she came to me, because literally within several hundred miles, there's nobody doing hijama other than myself. And even within the whole United States, there's only a handful of people who do it in a clinic. But her name is Sister Madiha Sharif. She lives in Fairfield. If you want, I can get you her information afterwards. Yeah, so the brother mentioned Masjid Yasin, but the sister who does it is the same one. Yeah, there's only that one that I know of. Yeah, she's so happy. So yeah, when Masjid Yasin does it, they generally tell the sisters to go to her home and do it. They don't do it in the masjid. That's what she's told. All right.
Yeah. Regarding hijama, what is the recommended frequency?
Yeah, I looked into that too, and the scholars I've talked to said that the Prophet ﷺ didn't prescribe a specific frequency, so there are many different opinions on it. Some say that men should do it at least once or twice a year. Some say that especially when the weather changes and people are more prone to getting sick, those are good times to do it, like in spring or fall. If you have a specific medical condition, you can do it at greater frequency. Like when I see patients, if they have a specific problem like high blood pressure or a specific back pain or something, usually we do it at least once a month for several months. That's good. Alhamdulillah, we had a lot of questions. We should be wrapping up. If there's any last question, otherwise we'll go ahead and close. One more.
Modern medicines are also back on, like you mentioned about herbs and plants.
Yes.
That's like modern medicines are also the same thing.
Yeah, that's also a very good question. The brother asked about modern medicine and how, a lot of those are derived from natural substances. The key point to remember here is they're not the same. The reason is, any doctor or anyone who is familiar with the pharmaceutical industry will be able to tell you this. I studied classic herbal medicine, and one of the key things they always teach us is that when you use an herb, you use a food, you use a plant, or you use a root or a leaf or stem or any combination thereof, you can grind that up into a powder, you can extract some of it, but generally you don't isolate it down to what we call individual active ingredients. Drug company approach is to isolate ingredients. It's true that they say about 40% of drugs are derived from natural substances, but they'll isolate down to a single chemical that they call the active ingredient, and then they put in filler compounds, and then they can patent it. This again gets back to money because, you know, a drug company cannot patent a food, a drug company cannot patent herbs or roots or leaves. And so again, unfortunately, it comes back to money. But in classic herbology, they'll teach that you know, when you don't isolate it and you use the plant or whatever part you're using, within that substance, Allah has put hundreds of different compounds, and they all work together synergistically and therefore minimize side effects and maximize benefits. When you isolate down to a single chemical, you always have more side effects. And that boils down to the point that whatever Allah has made is always going to be better than what some human being is just, you know, trying to make in a lab.
I want to say about
Yes.
flaxseed oil.
Yes, go ahead.
Dr. Ahmed recommended 5 years ago to use flaxseed oil. And I wanted to mention one thing only, how it's good for me, to my health. Since I'm using flaxseed oil, I don't have headaches. Past 5 years, I don't have it.
Yes. Yeah, so there's a brother here from Bosnia. He was saying that how he's been using black seed oil very regularly. His headaches have been eliminated. He also used it on your skin, right? Yeah, it was very beneficial for his skin and for his headaches. He was just commenting. Thank you for the feedback. All right, thank you all so much for attending. I'll go ahead and close. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdu lillahi rabbil alamin. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. جزاكم الله خيرا. السلام عليكم.